Hey there folks, Recon Trooper here, back with another video finally. As you can probably tell by the title, this video is about my thoughts on LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, like the current situation we're in right now, and I'm just decided to finally just express how I feel about this situation. And so, leave a like and comment if you so desire, and also enjoy the Halo Reach gameplay in the background there, and without further delay, let's get into it. And before I actually start talking about how I feel about it, I'm just gonna inform you all now that throughout the video I may say things that are a bit controversial, not so much, not political, but just kind of, you know, things that people may disagree with, but, you know, it's my opinion and I'm not changing it because people don't like it. So without further delay, as we all know, you know, the last news we got was in August with that trailer, and it sucks, you know, like, ever since then, of course, we've gotten nothing but silence as per usual with this so-called company, because they don't seem to do anything except stay silent these days. And it's kind of hard to believe they made all those LEGO games in the past, because they're nothing like they are now. You know, they were nothing like they are now. They actually talked, they actually, you know, marketed their game, they actually kept the hype alive. And these days, this new TT Games is just such an embarrassment, I'd say. And but I know that we're all, you know, we all got that leaked release date last week, but you know, it's been, you know, unfortunately when it comes to leaks, you know, they're not reliable. Whether they're true or not, they're just not reliable. And you know, but from a personal point of view, what it did do for me anyway was it did inspire me a bit, because, you know, the date was in April, which is in spring. It was on the 5th, which is a Tuesday, and, you know, like, they could have just gone with, you know, May 31st or something if it was, you know, one of those typical placeholder dates, you know, but they chose April 5th for some reason, whoever leaked that or came up with that. And so, you know, whether it's real or not, nobody knows. People are assuming it's fake just because it wasn't from TT Games. Nothing ever is these days, you know, except for that trailer we got in August. But nothing seems to really be, you know, actually from TT Games themselves anymore. You know, all these leaks and stuff are from, you know, other people that are, you know, just trying to keep the hype and the hope alive for this game. And so that's, you know, that's kind of what the leaked release date did for me, is it kept me hoping, you know, and that's all I can do is hope. That's all anybody can do up to at this point, you know. Like, I of course don't expect it, and you know, I don't expect any news this month or next month in December, but it would be nice to, you know, I would hope that we get something this month or next, just because it would be a little nice to, you know, it would be nice to have something, especially if they're serious about the spring release. And, if they're actually serious about releasing it in the springtime this time, and not just pulling our legs again. So, but like I said, I'm not expecting anything, and I'm certainly not, gonna hold my breath on news, and it's just been one disappointment after another, and so, but, I personally would like it to actually come out in April, though. I think April would be a nice month. I know a lot of people are obsessed with May the 4th because it's Star Wars Day, but, if they're gonna just wait until then to release the game, even when it's done, it kind of doesn't make sense to just do that just for a special day that, if the game came out a month early, people could just be playing it on May the 4th, never mind buying it, if that makes sense. And, also, I think people just, at this point, I think people just want to play the game more than they want it out on May 4th, do people really want to wait an extra month just for it to release on a special day, or do they want to just play it, And I think that it would be just nice to have it in April, the first full month of spring. And but again, I don't expect it to be in April. That's just a personal preference, a hope of mine. It could very well be in May. It could be in early June, for that matter. We don't know until TT Games comes out of their little hole and actually starts to talk about their game like they're supposed to, like they should have done, all of this year, for that matter. Never mind these little tiny bits and bobs they release out of the blue. But I think it would be just nice if they did release something this month or next. But if the game came out in April, but it's obviously not something that can be predicted, and so I just, and I think also, I know a lot of people, want online multiplayer, and that's where some controversy is going to probably arise when I say this, but I personally don't think it's necessary right now. I think, LEGO games have done just fine without online multiplayer, and there's a lot of complex things they would have to figure out that in order for it to work. Like, if two players are playing together and they both have separate, progress in the game, like one person has, like 40% more progress than another, and, like, for one thing, whose progress, like, how is that gonna work for both players, like, somebody who's got, say a Kyber brick in one spot that the other person doesn't have yet, like, and also, what if they both don't have the Kyber brick and only one is able to get it? Like, is the other person not going to be able to get it until they leave and play on their own again? Or, all that kind of stuff. And I just think there's a really complex balancing act they'd have to figure out, if for online multiplayer. And again, I think that people at this point, I think people just want to play the game more than they care about online multiplayer. Like, they just want to play the game already at this point, as does everybody. If online multiplayer is the only thing that keeps them from playing the game, then unfortunately that's goes to show they weren't actually interested in the game. They just wanted the multiplayer. And I know I'm probably going to get some flack for saying that, but, when people like that, give up on an entire game that is open world, it has over 300 characters, 200 variants, 150 ships or something like that, 24 explorable area, planets, and a gold mine of combat systems, a gold mine of a combat system, and all the only thing they're not getting the game for is because it's got no online multiplayer. That kind of goes to show they weren't serious about the game in the first place, I think. And but I think people just want the game. They don't care about online multiplayer at this point. And if that was something they're thinking of putting in now, it would just cause another delay that is actually, I think, would be just an unnecessary one, actually. It's not a bug or anything they're putting in and trying to fix. It's, trying to incorporate online multiplayer. And so, but, yeah, I think it just, at this point, I think we just want the game. That's the basic of it. We just want the game. All this other stuff at this point is not really a concern anymore, at least not for many. And certainly not for me. And what I think should happen is, they need to, like, if spring comes around and they don't say anything, then I think, that is it. People are getting really sick and tired, beyond sick and tired of this dance that we've been doing for 2 years now, going on 3, and they're just tired of it all. And again, TT Games has gone for some reason with this game in particular, they've gone from great to embarrassing. Like, no doubt the game is gonna be great, but the way they've been behaving towards, the player base and the community is embarrassing, and it just, it really boggles my mind to think how they used to be compared to what they are like now, and, like, but, I think it would just be good for them, to release some news before spring, just to keep the players alive, because I've pre-ordered the game already. I pre-ordered it several months ago. I pre-ordered it back when the deluxe edition was announced. And I still have the receipt sitting in my room right now. And, I've been patiently waiting, and despite all the disappointments that have come our way, I've been willing to give them another chance, like when last year when they announced it was going to be spring this year. I was disappointed that it wasn't going to be last year like they initially said at E3 2019 at the time. But I was willing to, cut them some slack. And, and then, of course, we got this delay message in April talking about how they weren't able to reach the deadline, and then I figured, well, we should get something this year then if they're not gonna release it at least. And then this whole Gamescom 2021 happened, and they said spring 2022, and so I think it'll be the last straw for me personally with this game, because I've been really not wanting to cancel my pre-orders, because they're already paid for and everything. I just need to, the game just needs to release and I can go get it, and I'll be satisfied, but unfortunately, if we get nothing this time, if we get absolutely nothing by spring, and I don't mean the game, period, I mean news, period, then I'm unfortunately gonna be canceling my order, and I just think, no sense me waiting anymore until they've actually got a solid date and some solid news and a solid head on the ground, instead of constantly floating around like we don't know they're there, thinking that they can just move around us as if we're just they're untouchable. Well, I'm sure they'll be quite touchable once they start losing even more pre-orders that are probably done right now. So, but spring will be the last straw for me personally. I'm getting sick and tired of all this dancing around that they've been doing, and it's getting really painful, and I feel kind of embarrassed too, because I even pre-ordered the game for some of my some family members that live far away. And, I feel really embarrassed because I keep having to reassure them every time that it's still coming. I'm still getting them the game, and we keep getting, us as a community, player base, whatever you want to call it, keep getting slapped in the face every time they stay silent and then give us a different date or release window or whatever. And it's just getting exhausting. And so, but yeah, so just quickly to go over my thoughts, everybody knows we need more news. That's nothing that nobody doesn't know by now. It's not something that people don't know by now. We need news. TT Games needs to come out of their little hidey hole and actually start to talk about their game. The whole NDA thing also isn't a very viable excuse anymore either, because they don't even have to talk about the game itself per se. They just have to acknowledge it for one thing, and they can also just give us an update on the game's condition. Is it doing well? Is it what are they struggling with, what's going on with all their glitches and issues and everything, and it just they need to get it together and start being the company that we the game developers company, whatever, industry that they used to be, the one that everybody liked back in those days, before all these embarrassing choices and decisions and everything and delays started to wreak havoc on us and start causing us to get actually upset at them for once instead of praising them. And again, I'm sure we're all gonna enjoy the game, whether there's features missing or it doesn't have quite the maybe something in there that we were hoping that isn't in there, or whatever the case. I'm sure we're all gonna enjoy the game regardless. It's not gonna be like just playing stickmen on a flat canvas, just shooting big black dots in the sky or something. It's gonna be a really fun game. It's gonna be, it should anyway keep us all engaged for quite a while in it. And as such, it needs to we need to be hyped about it, and TT Games needs to help keep our hype alive, and they fail to do so almost every time now. When it's I'm personally not expecting anything at this the Game Awards thing in December, because they weren't there last year and everybody was expecting it. And it's kind of a loop thing they are doing these days. They wait until the next Gamescom to give us something new now. And not counting, of course, giving us the little notification when spring rolls around and is almost, like 3/4 finished, and then they decide to release a statement, a little postcard saying, sorry we weren't able to meet the deadline this time either, and stay tuned for more info soon, which means, nothing at this point. Soon is an empty word they throw around, and that's kind of it. And so I just I am reaching my limit. This will be I'll have reached my limit with patience come spring, and we have nothing at all, like no little news, no news about the game, no update on the game, nothing. Just a simple, we're delaying it again thing. I will have reached my limit by then, and I really don't want to cancel my order, because like I said, with it already being paid for and everything, all it's missing is the game to be released, and I can just go get it on the release day, but and that's another thing, TT Games really need to get their head out of the sand and figure out a release date, because they just seem to think these release windows are good enough for us at this point. And quite honestly, it wouldn't have been so bad this past Gamescom if they had at least given us a month, never mind a season. Just give us a month, at least it would have narrowed down the release window even more than just spring, which is basically 3 months worth of waiting, because there's the last couple weeks of March, and then the 2 full months of April and May, and then the first couple weeks of June, totaling basically 3 months. And, whereas if they had just given us a month, it would have been just 4 weeks, straightforward. And then, while people would still be guessing, would be still kept guessing, at least they'd have a much more narrower time frame to, speculate about. Could it be, the first Tuesday of this month, or could it be the last, or whatever the case, but no, they instead went with another spring season release window instead of a month. And that's very disappointing on their part, because you'd think they'd at least have a month by now figured out instead of another stupid season. And, so, but one thing's for sure, if they do release any news either this month or next, they had better have a release date, because if they still say spring 2022 by December, if we get news, that is, they are kidding themselves with great embarrassment and passion, because that just goes to show just how out of touch they have become since since whenever their last Lego game came out. I don't know which one that was. Was it I don't remember which Lego game was the last to come out, but they have been out of touch, basically. So, but anyway, that's kind of been my 2 cents on this and how I feel about it. And I know the online multiplayer bit is gonna stir up some controversy among people. They'll probably, some of you will probably criticize me for how I view it, but you know what? That's how I view it. You're not gonna change my mind. So, but anyway, so that's how I feel right now about Lego Star Wars and the situation we're in. And I do hope greatly that things improve for the better. That's all I can say. I just hope they improve for the better. And so, I hope we get news this month or next. I don't expect it, but I hope it. And, with that said, this is Recon Trooper signing out now. And so, again, leave a like and comment if you, desire to. I mean, they're always welcome, even if they're, some sort of argument of some kind to something I said. So, anyway, thanks for listening and watching, folks. And this is Recon Trooper signing out now. Later.